God, we all know, we sing it in Reckless Love, he's coming after you. He's chasing after you, his reckless love. Nothing can separate you from that reckless love. You can ignore it. You can try to ignore it. You can try to run from it, but it's still there. You still know it. And let me tell you, if you're waiting for peace, your peace is on the other side of that obedience. You can be in a way scarier situation, but if you have peace, it surpasses all understanding. It doesn't really matter where you're placed. All right, the next one, let's see what it is. This is the prove it. Now, this one is very relatable. I've actually totally done this before. And the funny thing about the 9 types is you've probably done a few of them. The prove it, they typically ask for a sign. Anybody ask for a sign? Yep, we all been there. It says they believe God will use them when he does certain things to prove that he will. So this is like Thomas. Anybody remember Thomas? You know, Jesus is already resurrected, but he had shown himself to other people, but not yet Thomas. And Thomas is sitting there, he's like, yeah, well, if God really resurrected, I'd have to see the nail-scarred hands, then I would believe it. And then Jesus comes through a locked door and is like, hey, Thomas, want to see something? Yeah. You know, like, he didn't do it like that. Jesus is much more humble and graceful. But the point is, he proved it. Gideon, he's like, if you do this, then I'll believe. God did it. And so then he went on and did it. You know, I don't necessarily think we need to ask for a sign. Jesus kind of talked about not asking for a sign. He said, a wicked generation asks for a sign. I am your sign. He talks about that. But I will tell you one time I did ask for a sign. And God really does always prove it. I'm ashamed to say I was dating this guy and I knew I wasn't supposed to be with him, but I really didn't want to break up with him. And I was like, oh, it's gonna be so terrible. I was like, God, just give me a sign if I'm supposed to break up with him. No joke, that weekend, went on a date, he ran into a stop sign. Like, ran into it. Yeah. I was like, got you. You proved it. It's true. Okay, we need to end this right now. So I'm not saying that he won't respond to a sign, but I'm just saying we don't need it. God really is the sign. His voice is enough. But if you actually need it, you might legit run into a stop sign. Okay, next. The half listeners. We might have some in the building right now. Maybe that was like me. I went to Nashville. I halfway listened, but then I was like, okay, now that I'm here, I'm just gonna chill in my comfort zone. This is the type that hears God's plan and kind of does it, but really does what they wanna do. In other words, they just disobey. It's like Adam and Eve. They hear the plan, they're like, cool, great. Don't eat the apple, what do? Eat the dang apple. You know, I mean, we halfway listened, but we didn't really follow through. We disobeyed. King Saul, prime example of this. He halfway listened. The Lord said, hey, you're gonna go into this battle. I want you to destroy everything about these people. Well, he destroyed almost all of it, except for the oxens, because those looked really nice and some other nice animals. And then God was like, that's not what I asked. And so what happened? Well, they didn't fully obey. They didn't get the fullness of God. See, that's the thing. God really is such a good God. He's so kind. I mean, if you don't respond to the call that he has in your life, I'm not saying he's gonna strike you down, but there is a fullness that we can experience on earth when we follow that call of God. Like, I'm not saying in a fullness, because I think some people misunderstand. They're like, well, life's not going so great. I don't have this platform, I don't have this stage, I don't have this amount of money. I'm not talking about anything like that. I'm talking about the fruit of who he is. Like, that's enough. That's better than anything the world has to offer you. And that's what you receive when you're walking in the center of the will that he has for your life.